So I got another story for you. This is about Young Thug. Young Thug sues apartment building for giving 200 unreleased songs to stranger. This has been going
Ooh.
around the internet. I just saw this kind of hit last night. Not so much fun. Young Thug has filed a lawsuit against a luxury apartment building in Atlanta, claiming the concierge service handed out a bag of personal belongings, including a hard drive containing over 200 unreleased songs, to a stranger. According to the legal documents viewed by All Hip Hop, the mix up happened at the complex called The Trace in Midtown Atlanta. Thugger reportedly left a leather Louis Vuitton bag in the parking garage next to his black Lamborghini on November 1st, 2020. Another resident spotted the orphan luggage and turned it into the concierge service. The employee who received the bag then contacted Young Thug and left instructions that no one should give away the bag without approval. Soon afterwards, a different employee handed the bag to an unknown person, and it hasn't been seen since. According to,
Ooh. Well,
yeah,
wait, before we go on, can we just talk about the Good Samaritan, the other
that's
resident?
great. No, that's
You
great.
find a Louis Vuitton. I mean, wouldn't any person just be kind of curious, like what's in there? You find $5 on the ground. You find $100. I would just like to say, you hope for the best in people, and every once in a while, someone does the right thing. So I think that person definitely gets a pat on the back for doing that.
I gotta say though, at the same time though, if I saw an expensive bag just laying around, that's exactly what I would do. I would assume I was on some kind of prank show or something. I don't need to be
Right.
seen on camera just trying to grab something.
You have to always assume you're on camera somewhere. There are cameras everywhere, whether they're people's phones, and so always keep that in
Right.
the back of your mind when you make decisions on what you're gonna do.
That and just do the right thing.
Right. That's right. That's right. So
Let
what
me
was in the
see.
bag?
So according to the suit, the bag itself is worth about $2,500. It held about $40,000 in cash, a diamond
Cash.
encrusted watch worth $57,000, a diamond chain worth $37,000, and the hard drive containing hundreds of unreleased songs, which Thugger said are collectively worth 1 million. And you know what? That could be that's honestly, if he has 200 songs, I mean, this guy has a catalog. He has numbers. That's pretty conservative. You know what I mean? But
Yeah,
I
and
guess you
I
got to put a
wonder,
price on it.
setting aside the actual literal value of what we just said, the hard cash and the jewelry, there's a direct value associated to that, right? So now we say, who is he suing, right? He's suing the apartment complex. And it's going to be for a number of claims, but the reason he's able to sue the complex itself rather than, let's say, the negligent employee is because it actually was an employee acting within the scope of their employment. And so sometimes, employers can kind of, throw their staff, under the bus and be like, if we didn't authorize them to do something, they did something that caused you harm. We had nothing to do with that. But in this case, obviously through the sequence of events, you had an authorized person doing something on behalf of the apartment complex handed out that bag. So now, obviously, at a minimum, we have the direct damages, right? He's
Right.
going to go for the direct cash value of what he lost. And then now he's going to come up with a valuation, which is why we heard you just say, it's about $1 million of value in those songs. Now, I don't know if he has those songs backed up somewhere, but it's kind of not the
But
point, right? Is
it's
this
not the
person going to
point.
release the
Right.
songs?
It's for whatever happened, it happened. Some people are going, how did his bag just get left? You know what I mean? Or why isn't he just, he had that, why is he just keeping that kind of stuff and not really keeping, I don't know, whatever it is. I don't care about that. He has got to be like in his heart, because like when I heard this, like my heart sank. Like, the money is one thing and all that kind of stuff, but 200 songs like gone, like that's honestly, that's like my biggest fear. Like it just makes me think on a much smaller scale. When I used to, play in more of my rock band and stuff, and we'd play, shows and clubs and stuff, and you'd hear like, our bass player had gotten his, bass stolen, you know what I mean, just from leaving it back in where you think it's protected because there's, bouncers and there's stuff watching the gear, or just whatever happens and stuff, gear gets lost, or you're bringing your laptops to shows if you're a DJ, and maybe you have a project on there and something happens, water spills on it, gets stolen, whatever it is. It's just when that stuff is gone, it's crazy. So to be on that level where you're losing that, where there's a real value on it, like $1 million, they could be worth more than it. There could be a song on there that just could be
Was
worth
the
way
guy.
more. Right. And the thing of it is, you're absolutely right. If you're like, kind of a smaller kind of band, maybe your stuff it's not as big of a deal. But when you have that stuff, like, are they going to hold them from ransom? Are they going to release them? Are they going to steal from them? If he doesn't have them backed up, which ones does he have backed up? So
Well, and that's the thing. Let's talk about that for a sec, right? So, it doesn't matter what level you're at. There are certain things that are just kind of common to a lot of artists. And
right,
one of them is that they don't back up their material. Now, again, it doesn't mean that his producers, his co writers don't have copies of certain things. But with a lot of my artists, they have a tendency to only have one copy. And it's just because they're moving. They're moving. I mean, he did 200 songs, right? So, how many sessions was that? How many
no, for
collaborations was that?
sure.
And so let's say, for argument's sake, that really was the only copy of it. From personal experience, as someone who's like, make sure you back up everything to a cloud and to a second drive. I mean, I literally had a situation where I threw out one of my hard drives, and it was just, one of those things you didn't realize it. And by the time I did, it was gone. The garbage had been picked up, and it's just you hope that you backed
you're on
up.
the phone. You're on the phone with the garbage people, or the what do you call it?
No,
The
I asked him
people,
like,
the
can I
waste
go
management.
digging in the
Can I go in the
dumpster?
landfill?
Please help. And obviously it
You're
was
like,
just
no,
no, no, no.
it's
There's just no way
it's
you would ever
gone.
find anything.
It's gone.
Yeah.
Um,
And then what else is on the drive, right? What are you trying to make sure no one else comes
for
and
sure.
discovers? So there's all that too. Who locks their
There,
drive?
there's so many layers to it, but either way, like, no, I definitely feel for Young Thug and having to go through this as an artist, as somebody that's done that myself, as somebody that, like, has completed demos and tracks that I was working on last night that I did not back up yet to another drive, and anything could happen. So that just reminds me that as soon as we're done with this stream, I should back some things up.
Yeah, there you go. Don't get into trouble.